What's up guys, YST here and welcome back to another Raid Shadow Legends video. And today we're going to be going over the Night Revenant's Crypt, stage 21, arguably the hardest stage to do in the faction wars when you're trying to get that Lydia the Death Siren. So what we're going to do today is show pretty much the same team, one full epics with no drop defense, right? And then in the second team, we're going to show a full auto team by throwing one legendary into the mix. So hopefully you guys have that, dude. So yeah, what we're going to do is go into the index and pretty much discuss the champions first before getting into the runs. And yeah, let's go over them. So in terms of legendaries here, pretty much all of them are going to be very useful. Apart from possibly Narma the Returns, because there's not really much to a kit apart from once you get to the boss. If you want to place drop attack, if you want to place those poison debuffs, right? Poison sensitivity and all of that good stuff. But in terms of help you out on the waves, it's all single target and probably not the best option in terms of legendaries. Then we have got Gaius the Gleeful, who actually has an AoE sleep, which is really great for keeping those targets under a sleep so you can pin them off one by one. Also the bomb debuffs gonna deal some great damage on the waves. Bistrophus was one that I used for the very first time that I cleared this stage, and that was pretty much down to an AoE block active skills to stop those Valkyries from putting up those huge shields, which becomes really tedious, right? Obviously the kind of downside to this is Force Affinity, and that's a big issue with a lot of champions in this faction. First off, the Grim, Mother Cybele. When you're trying to place those debuffs, it really becomes a bit annoying. Now, when you talk about MVP champions, and it's the person I'm going to use in the second part of the runs, is Tomb Lord. He's actually available through life tokens, and that's where I got mine from. At first, I was like, oh, why did I do that? But now he's a part of so many comps, including this full auto team for Fire Knights 21. All down to that drop attack, drop defense, turn meter decreased to keep that boss under a lock so he doesn't heal swap us, and also placing those big versions of the poisons on all enemies, which can chunk down those damage on those enemy waves. Also a great decreased speed on the A1 so you can cycle your abilities against that boss. So for me, this dude is MVP for sure. Calvalax I could be seeing really useful here with all of that poison stuff. Solus for provokes, really nice, and also a great damage dealer being the Void Affinity. Hegemon, of course, probably not everybody has one. I don't have one, but he's got a block active skills as well. And Whirling Frost King, pretty good for increased defense, strengthen, and decreased accuracy, etc. So yeah, pretty nice for those provoke debuffs. Now in terms of the epics, there's a few added into the mix from the first time that I did this Fire Knights, right? And I still don't have a Skull Crown who was MVP back then, and probably still holds that value. So in terms of here, what are you looking for to build a team? You really want drop defense, which I spoke about with Tomb Lord, and there is not a bunch here at all. It's literally narrowed down to single target ones. And I think there's only one champion here that can do an AoE, but she's the wrong affinity again. So Plarium, please fix it up and give us some more options. Maybe even a void one, I'd love to see. But yeah, what you're looking for is sustainability, heals, revives, and all of that good stuff. And of course, Rector Draft is up there, MVP for this, because she's got an AoE that can place heals, and obviously AoE as well, which is great. Drop attack for the boss, and a revive on a 4-turn cooldown that will also boost your turn meter. So this is really solid. And then also the resist factor in the passive. One thing that I really like about Rector Draft is the boss likes to steal your buffs, and if your targets are full HP, she doesn't place those continuous heals, which allows your champions not to be stolen so the boss doesn't heal. So yeah, we are going to be using her in today's video. And then also Miscreated Monster, really great for the ally protection and the fierce, which is just humongous against those Valkyrie waves, stopping them from taking their turns through this passive here. Also the AoE stun, which is huge, and an A1 that can also stun if they're under a drop defense. Doom Priest, also really MVP for me. I'm not going to speak about every single epic, but these are the standouts. We got a speed in all battles for Force champions. We're going to be blocking this off against the boss, and then pretty much an A1 with a passive that can cleanse, which is huge for like leech and provokes, etc. In terms of what you also want to look for is damage dealers, and two really stand out for me here, and it's not Skull Crown and it's not Senesha, if that's what you're thinking. It's actually Faceless, and what it's down to is on his A3 and Ice Bolt, which has no freeze in it, so change that name. It ignores shield, block damage, as well as defense. This skill here is made for that boss and made for wave 2. There's just no doubt about it. You're ignoring the shields from Valkyries, you're ignoring the block damage from Warcaster, and you're ignoring defense to be able to one-shot those enemies, right? So this is huge. And also a nice little A1 and an A2 that can increase crit rate, which is pretty nice. Now, for people that say, oh, it's a void champion, we don't have voids in this game and whatever, Crit Witch is underrated for Faction Wars. She also attacks one enemy, will ignore 50% of the target's defense if the target is faster than this champion. Is this kind of the best thing in the game? Probably not. You're going to have to build her slow to be able to make full use of this ability. But it's still a really great option if you don't have a Faceless. But she also has a drop defense on a 2-time random, which I wish was AoE, but still really nice, right? And also on the A1, deals 30% more damage to targets that have buffs and ignores shield and block damage. So this is really huge, and a Faction Wars aura by 20%. So if you don't have a Faceless, I would definitely building up a Crit Witch. In terms of the person I was speaking about for drop defense is Phylesia, and she has the A3 that places a 60% decreased defense on a 3-turn cooldown. Yes, you are going to be getting weak hits, but obviously if she keeps cycling it, you get her fast enough, potentially some relentless sets, you can see this becoming a really useful skill. Also increases the duration of all debuffs by 1 turn on an AoE, and then on the A1 applies a debuff spread effect, taking one random debuff, placing on all enemies under hex debuffs, which coincides with this passive, which has a 50% chance of placing hex when attacking enemies under decreased defense. So that's a really nice kind of debuff, right, to kind of spread. So they're kind of the standouts in my opinion, and then obviously Senesha and Skullcrown are amazing in stun sets. If you start pairing Miscreated Monster with these types of champions, you're able to keep that CC up so your damage dealers can make full use of their damage capabilities and nuke down those Valkyries. So yeah, any of these two, probably Skullcrown a bit better, but Senesha, in terms of survivability, being able to equalize your HP, reduce cooldowns for someone like a Valkyrie or a Warcaster to stop that block damage, this is a really underrated A2. And in terms of the rare champions, there is a few that has some use. Some would be like Acolyte, who can remove debuffs from all allies on a 4-turn cooldown, also can decrease turn meter on the A2 here, and also fills turn meter. Nothing outstanding there, but it's okay. And then we got a Guardian, who can have a chance of decreasing the duration of enemy buffs by 2 turns, which is great for the shields, and he's the Spirit Affinity, and then can attack 4 times at random and has a chance of placing block buffs, which is huge, right? If you can place this on multiple enemies, you're going to be in a really great position. And also a block debuffs and a counterattack and continuous heal on that A3 ability. So he's probably the shine out of the rest for me, and I think this dude does something as well. Blue does, there you go, exchanges remaining HP levels with a target enemy, then equalizes the HP of all allies. So this is a really strong A3 ability. So you can kind of swap your HP of like a Valkyrie and pretty much do some great damage if this champion is pretty low when you do this skill. So quite situational, but can come in handy. Renegade for resetting skills, I guess could have a bit of use with some decreased speed as well on the A1 ability. Where is it? Decreased accuracy and decreased speed on the A2, sorry. And they're kind of my standouts from this one. And uncommons, who cares about those? So this is the all epics teams, only one void epic, but as I mentioned earlier, you can bring in someone like a crit witch if you don't have one. But faceless, definitely MVP for this. Straight after this one, we'll do the full auto as well, which pretty much this one is as well, but it's kind of a learning curve for this team. All right, so in terms of this run, what you're going to see is some crazy damage like boom from a faceless that can one-shot the enemy waves. And that's just insane because he's ignoring defense, right? And also a pretty nice damage on his A1 and his A2. Also, we got the stun set on our Senesha. I'll show you all of the stats and all of the presets towards the end of the video. And it's pretty much going to go like this the whole time. Now, because we don't have a drop defense from someone like a Tomb Lord or the Phylexia, the run is going to be very long and you're going to struggle a bit against the boss. And you're going to want to build all of your champions in War Master because that's going to help you take down that boss before he does that heal swap. And that's the issue that most players have, right? It's trying to deal the most damage whilst trying to have support. And definitely masteries and one great damage dealer is the way to go. So there you go, 2 stuns, we got a fizz, and it works out pretty great. So what we're going to do is head into wave 2. So let's just forward up a little bit. Otherwise, we're going to be here all day, guys. So A2, we want to place those stuns. And no worries, they can put all of their shields out. I really wanted to make this a worst case scenario to show how viable this team is. And this is full auto for both the waves. So you don't have to worry about all of that crazy stuff of picking and choosing. Like, oh, this guy's got this off, let me do this. This is going to work out completely fine in the long run. So we're just letting them waste all of their abilities, let them kill faceless, it's all good. And obviously that's the reason why we got a Rector draft, to be able to revive our champion. And I must say, none of these champions here today are built extremely well, apart from Rector draft. And even her, she could be a lot better, to be honest. See that Senesha with that equalizer heal, being able to bring up all of your allies to the person with the highest HP. So with a stun set, you don't have to worry about damage. Just high accuracy, stun set, and you'll be ready to rock and roll. But with the stun set, you don't need accuracy, but you're going to need it for that A2, where she blocks the cooldowns for someone like a Warcaster. So there we go. We got stuns there on that Valkyrie. Let's just chunk through here a bit. Alright, here we go. So this is a nice little spot here. We got stuns up on that Valkyrie. We got fears up. And we're doing pretty well at this point. And look at this, guys. You can pretty much see it there. I'm just going to speed through a little bit. And we've come down to this final Valkyrie here. And all we need is like a couple A1s and he's going to be dead. Boom. Sit down, Valkyrie. Now, once you come up against the boss, the person on the left is going to be placing provokes. The one on the right is going to be placing leech debuffs. Now, what leech does is it lets the boss heal, right? Just like so. And every single time he does his AoE, he's going to be healing, and it gets really annoying, right? Which is where Doom Priest comes into play, like you've seen earlier, to cleanse those debuffs, like the provokes and like the leech. And we've actually got her built in a Relentless to allow her to deal some extra damage and stuff. And one little top tip is, do not place ally protection with your miscreated monster, because in that skill, he also places a continuous heal. And that could be really detrimental when trying to take down the boss, because he's healing as fast as you're killing him, right? Especially if you've got a full support team like this with only one damage dealer. The passes from Doom Priest is enough, and the heals from our Senesha, to be able to survive this. You don't need the ally protection. Just use it for the waves and block it off with presets once you come up against the boss. So the only buff that this dude is going to be stealing is potentially shields. And also the, what's the other buff? The increased crit rate from Doom Priest on the A1. Apart from that, if he's not stealing anything, it's going to be so much easier to get through him. So what I've done here is, this is full auto, right? And I just wanted to prove a point here, because people tend to leave it on full auto. They're not killing him fast enough. He's heal swapping. You might come back like 45 hours later and he's still not dead. So this was just for test purposes only. And because I let it do full auto, Sinesh is still healing, right? Doom Priest, or not Doom Priest, Rector Draft is still doing her AoE, perfect veils and heals, and all of that stuff, right? So we're going to see it right now. And once it's only the boss, I must say, you don't need the extra healing. So you can pretty much just A1, allow Doom Priest to do her thing, and let it rock and roll. So you've seen that heal swap there. And that's kind of the situation that people get through. And we did it right here again. I just wanted to prove the point. You might think you're getting lucky, you're 20 minutes in, you're getting so close. And I must say, my Faceless, I don't think he's got masteries either, but I'll have to check that later. I was going to put them on and I was like, should I or should I not? So look at this, guys. This is probably the point that many people get to and they get so frustrated. You see like a bit of HP left, and watch this. Boom. Heal swap, and it's just so annoying. Now, this is what you should be doing. Once the boss is dead, just A1, A1, A1. Choose the skills from your Faceless. Like, make sure nobody is healing, right? You can heal once or something with Sinesha, just so someone like a miscreated monster doesn't die. Just like so. And from this point, just A1 and chunk them down with War Master damage, and you're going to be completely fine. So, watch this. We're doing manual play at this point. We're coming through. Before we get to the victory, how many turns did we have left? 2 extra turns. So, just by taking some manual play, being a bit patient, and just spamming this boss, we managed to do it. It says 21 minutes, but if I just took full control instead of allowing the heal swaps, which was just a test for you guys, then yes, it would have been around 12 to 13 minutes. But obviously, we had the heal swap twice, so it's 20 minutes. So, really great team in my opinion, full epics, and only 1 void champion. So, yeah, pretty sweet, right? Now, I'll show you the presets afterwards manually. So, this one here, let me just go back to the team. This is a team where I implemented a Tomb Lord. Full auto, no problems whatsoever. And I even took out a Doom Priest, so there's no cleanses. So watch the difference of how amazing Tomb Lord is if you have him. Literally game changing. And the main reason why I built this team was for CVC, when I'm trying to get those points, and Night Revenant is always the one that annoys me. And this is a pretty cool team, right? So you're going to see here. Wait, let's just get through the boring part. This stage isn't the hardest. So let's get through to wave 2. Alright, here we go. So what he's going to do is drop attack, drop defense. And that isn't only mitigating the damage from Errol here, it's also mitigating the damage from Valkyries because they're defense based. So a 60% drop defense is humongous. Also, look at those poisons. They're going to be dealing damage over time, every single time they take a turn. It's just going to be so easy. Literally so easy. So, I don't think we got the ally protection here, but I blocked it off with presets, but pretty much you can time it if you want to allow the fears to proc. But I'm just trying to get through with damage as quickly as possible here. There we go. Let them do their shields. They're hardly doing any damage because they're under drop defense. One by one, take them down. And also with Tomb Lord, he also drops the turn meter, right, if they're below 50%. And that's really going to help us control the boss, which I think you see come really clutch in this run. So we're just coming through here. Let's go. Come on, guys. You want to be taking a few extra turns here. Ooh, no stuns there with Sinesh's stun set. Coming through. And what ability are we doing now? Drop attack, drop defense, poisons. Look at that, guys. We're just coming through here. Let's just go through a little bit. You guys don't need to see the whole Valkyries dying. And up against the boss. Once again, I've blocked off that A3. Or is it an A2 from Miscreated Monster? So he doesn't ally protect because we don't need it on this stage at all. If you want to, you can place it once at the start if you're struggling to survive against these side minions. But if you're not, just let your other support champions do the job, right? So do you know what? Let's just, you can watch the whole run. It's not going to be long from this point. Look at that. Sit down. Who's that champion there? Is that a renegade? I can't really tell. Let him do this. It's all good. Also, that decreased speed is going to allow us to take all of those extra turns in case you don't have the fastest champions in the world. So 30% decreased speed, definitely very huge. There we go. Get some poisons up. And sit down. Now, he's going to do a little transfer. We're going to get some debuffs, but it's all good. Doom Priest could be really amazing here, but it's going to cleanse faster than we need it anyway. So we're just coming through here now. Last final hits. Not looking too bad at all. And our Tomb Lord is just going to come through now with that drop attack and drop defense with the turn meter decrease. Because obviously the boss is under 50%. Gives us a chance to come through with our damage dealers and finish off the job without them doing the heal swap. So if you've got a Tomb Lord, definitely max him up. Please. He's just great everywhere. All right, here we go. Last final hits. I forgot we got a final one. It might be faceless here. Definitely faceless. Let's go. Boom. Ice Bolt. Sit down with the 53,000. And look at this, guys. 1 million damage from Tomb Lord. So much sustainability from the rest of our champions. And 675k on faceless. He was actually built for the damage dealing effect. So, yeah, pretty sweet. So let's just take this off. Now, let's just quickly go over the... See, I can't even show the presets because Polarium doesn't allow us to go into this again and show the presets. So what we're going to do is just head into this Faction Wars and see if we got the presets in here. There is. Thank you very much. So on Sinesha on wave 1, we just block this up. We want to do as much damage as possible. This is for wave 2 and wave 3. You don't really need to do this, but if you're just trying to sustain in team 1, it does come into play. On round 3, we want to block this off. Wave 2, you can use it if you want to, but just remember it boosts the turn meter from the buffs, from the Valkyries, which is why I turned it off here. With Tomb Lord, doesn't really matter. We just want to be opening up with that poison, so we can drop attack and drop defense afterwards, because obviously, he likes to transfer, right? And we want to keep that debuff up more than the poisons. This one doesn't really matter. You can just leave it as is. And Ice Bolt, that is your priority on all of the runs. Now, let's just go into my champions and talk about how they're built, and then we'll wrap up the video. I didn't intend it to go on this long. Sorry, guys, but I have to get as much information in there as possible because you guys really requested this. So, Miscreated Monster, nothing insane, just some speed sets, off-piece set, high HP, high defense, 200 speed, nothing outstanding. Accuracy just skimming at 200, no crit rate. And then the masteries that we got here is the offensive tree. Let me just move myself out of the way. We got War Master there at the bottom to deal that War Master damage I was speaking about, and just some defensive masteries. Now, in terms of just trying to think who I was using. Doom Priest. So Doom Priest is at 218 speed. No accuracy, just a bit of resistance, but that's mainly for the Hydra boss, so just ignore that. She's able to cleanse anyway. High HP, high defense, and some nice crit rate. Masteries, pretty much the same as the Miscreated Monster. We want War Master damage. I should just be doing it by faction, right? It'd be so much easier. Let's just head down here, and where are they? The cheeky little Knight Revs. There they are. So next up was Faceless. As I said, no masteries. I was about to do it right, and I was like, let me just showcase his value without masteries, just in case some people want to build him, and they're like, oh, I don't want to run the Minotaur, I don't want to spend 900 gems at the moment. I just wanted to showcase he's perfectly fine without masteries, but I do highly recommend it, if you can. And the route you want to do is the same as the other ones. Go for War Master or go for Helm Smasher if you want to ignore defense on his other abilities. This is his build, nothing insane. 94% crit rate, 220% crit damage, and slow speed. Nothing crazy there. Rector Draft. She's built relatively well. She's got high resistance, 230 speed, and high sustainability. Masteries. Preferably you want to go to War Master, but I had to switch this up for the Hydra boss because I was doing a testing video. So that just shows the value of how great this composition is. Only 3 out of 5 champions had War Master. If we implemented that first team potentially could have been a full auto team as well. So just bear that in mind here. Sinesha, same masteries, we got War Master and a stun set, which is allowing us to have an 18% chance to apply a stun. If you want extra chances, you could go Fearsome Presence, but go for War Master for that damage. So yeah, this is our overall stats here. High sustainability, we're not caring about damage on Sinesha. So final champion that I used today was Tomb Lord. He is made for my Poison Explosion comps at 220 speed, 100% crit rate, 150 crit damage, high accuracy and high sustainability. Masteries, we've gone down to Giant Slayer because his A1 deals a triple hit, and that's where you want to be placing that mastery there. So that's going to be all for the video, guys. If you enjoyed it, I'd appreciate a like and a subscribe button. I did only build these champions out for you guys today mainly, so I hope you do find it useful in some sense. Was really highly requested. So I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.